Hello, and welcome to the next ReeVlog. Odd one today. So I have the day off, so I can prep for and then go to friends for D&D stuff, yeah. And I'm going to talk about that first. No, I'm not. I'm going to talk about something else first. It's a better order to do things in. So, I just watched MattPatt on Game Theory's goodbye video. Now, I enjoy game theory. I'm going to play some games whilst we do this. If you recognise the sound from that particular clip, well done. It's going on mute now, if I can remember how to do this. There we go. Yeah, so, I've never had much of an emotional investment in game theory. However, it has played a reasonably portioned part in my life. Largely just due to the fact that I like those sorts of videos, and I've always been a big fan of just lore in general. L-O-R-E, not necessarily L-A-W. And because of that, the type of thing has made me want to do more. Now, MattPatt, in particular, has gotten quite a lot of shit over the years. People calling him money grubbing, people calling him insincere, just not care, just wants to sell merch, all of these sorts of things. But that doesn't, to me, change the fact that he has created a lot of content and shaped or helped shape a lot of what people have done. This doesn't mean that, he's a better person than other people. Does not make them infallible or anything like that, really. All it means is that it's a big change. As he pointed out, that channel has been going for apparently like 13 years, something along those lines. And I would say, as a very nearly 26-year-old person, that's over half my life. And, preteen, early teen is really where you get to pick your own media. You get some degree of choice, but a much narrower selection beforehand. But around that age is, when I, in particular, was able to. Because internet was something that I then had free access to, rather than very, very limited and restricted access to. Books, like those over yonder, I had access to, but I didn't have any money, so I had to just read what was bought for me, or what I could get at the library, which is why I sampled many library books. Even if they weren't very good, I'd be like, I'll take this one, and then I'll bring it back. But game theory and MattPatt, yeah, it's not sad, I don't think, that he has stepped away, as it were, though I am concerned about the audio for future videos. Not that I watch them very much anymore, but whatever. I just wanted to mention that I support his decision, because not that my opinion on the matter means much to anyone, but I don't know anyone in person that I'll talk to this about. And what's a vlogging channel for if not talking about things that you wouldn't talk to about? You don't know anyone that you would want to talk to about it in person, right? It's a diary. So, on to D&D. A topic of probably more interest to anyone who'll be watching a video of mine than a discussion of game theory. So, on to it, shall we? We have D&D. I doubt we'll play much this evening, just because people tend to arrive scattered throughout the evening. But who knows? Maybe a little bit. Got some new characters to introduce. We have, and if you are playing, do not watch this. Skip 3-4 minutes in, and then you can rewind in chunks to avoid spoilers, or you can just watch it after the weekend. We've got a barbarian who is swapping for paladin, and then we briefly had a slight swapping from a couple other characters, but that's being fully integrated, which is a cleric for a wizard, a bard for a paladin, a ranger, I think, for a warlock, melee warlock. Yeah, I think they're the 4 that are swapping. Then my character, definitely not swapping, because I have a mini that I'm going to go and get because I'm very happy. It's not Hero Forge, it's something else. What's the other big one? Eldritch Foundry. An Eldritch Foundry mini. Ta-da-da! In a Hero Forge box. No, this isn't a Hero Forge box. This is a dice from a local game store box. But whatever. I need to really pack it so that it won't rattle around. Look at this guy. Boom. He's my monk. Yeah. It's not focusing on him. That's a shame. Let me see if I tap the screen. Will it then do it? No. Boop, boop, boop. But yeah. It's a cool guy. You may notice has tonfa. He's died previously when we had a cleric. Also, we, the DM, anticipating the probability of some character deaths, made a pretty cool, though I don't know how it works in lore, which I'm looking forward to finding out eventually, resurrection ability, like revival, at the end of big boss fights, like proper boss fights, that are important to the plot. We got a key. My character kept said keys. Turns out, every character in the party, as long as we have a key, gets 1 free res. My character has had that. The key is gone. We're using the Grimhollow transformation guide. Well, the Grimhollow campaign guide transformations and supplementary material. If you die, you have to gain. You can gain a transformation as a free res, but you can also, if you then die again and use a key one, you have to change transformation as a free res. You still have to meet all the prerequisites for the transformations, but if you can't, then I guess that's DM discretion at that point. It's very cool. However, because I've died, I've got a transformation. I've got a new transformation. We no longer have anyone who can cast resurrection magic. Could be a problem, maybe. Because I'm a frequently vulnerable character. Currently, my DPS is pretty good. It's not sustainable. So I guess it's not DPS, is it? What's it called? Burst damage. I can do some good burst damage. I've got the proc effects, and I'm a little bit of a healer due to a homebrew subclass. But it is largely burst damage, the occasional proc effect. Highly mobile, as you would expect from a monk, but the issue that you will find, my AC, whilst it is, I believe, 19, but you know, very respectable AC, we get hit quite easily. We go up against things with plus 13 to hit, which means they just have to roll a 6, which on a 20-sided dice isn't the hardest to do. And as a monk, you're pretty multi-attribute dependent. You may note 19 AC. That means it's got a 20 and an 18 or 19. You'd be correct. But that means my con is not so high. I think it's 16, which is still pretty good. But, you know, I don't have as much health as I would like. And then the healing that I can do uses key points, which is obviously a limited resource. We're level 7, so I have 9 of them. I know I should have 7, but there's a feat that I took that gives you 2 more, so I have 2 more. Oh, it's dangerous. Every time we do this, we go up against a big boss usually. We didn't last session. Last session was a downtimey session, but usually big boss. I'm fully expecting one this session, maybe 2. The session before last session, we had like 4, 5 bosses. There's a boss gauntlet of 1, 2, 3, 4 bosses. And then there was 1, 2. Yeah, and then there were 2 bosses, like smaller mini boss type bosses beforehand. No wonder some of us died. Yeah, so I'm very excited about this. It's good to see my friends, and it's good to play D&D. Woo! I've got to get my stuff ready to take there. That's largely what this morning's for. But I'm also going to do like wash my bedding, so that way I can leave it to dry. So when I get back on Sunday, it will be dry. Genius move. Yeah. Oh, yes. What else? Backup character. That's the whole reason why I was going on about the fact I don't have that much health, and we take a lot of damage, so I might die. I've got a backup character, and last night it miffed me severely. You want to know what miffed me severely? Multi-class rules. I looked into them as specifics. As, you know, I know a lot of people do insist on rules as written, even if I think it's kind of bullshit in some ways. And this is an example of that. It's the spell preparation and known section for multi-caster levels. The slots, I understand. If you have a half caster and a full caster and you put them together, you're not going to get, you know, character level full caster slots. It's, I think, maybe a little more complicated than they should have made it. But I'm not a game designer, not professionally. So I'm not in the best position to comment on how Wizards of the Coast made that. What I am in a position to comment as a consumer on, however, is the fact that you get 2 full caster levels, 2 full casters, put them together. You can't learn spells of the highest level that you're able to cast. I think it would have made a lot more sense, and I would advocate for it being more of a, okay, you can know less spells from the ones where it is you just have spells you know, or you can prepare less spells when you know all of the spells, but you have to prepare specific ones. And you combine those two, say a wizard who knows a few spells, and druid who prepares their spells, but they know all of the druid spells. You find a way to divvy it up. You say, I don't know, here's how many druid spells you can prepare. You half it, and then you subtract that amount from how many wizard spells you know when you're making the character. And learn going forwards in that event. So if, say you were a level 5 druid with 20 wisdom, that means you can prepare 10 spells, right? These spells, you have to have levels you can cast them. Boom, you go, they'll be from level 1 through 3. Perfect. Then, your 6th level, you take a level in Wizard. Now, I don't remember how many spells you learn in Wizard. I don't know. I just don't know. But you could use the whole interference principle of doing things that are different, interferes with your current abilities. Learning that new skill is going to lead to a partial atrophy of your currently existing skill. Who knows? And with that in mind, you go forwards and you say, look, you can no longer prepare as many druid spells. But you can learn X amount of wizard spells. Up to a certain point. Because if you're making a character who's already multi-classed, it makes sense to be like, okay, here's the split, here's the thing. But if you are going into a multi-class and you've got a character, like level 5 going into level 6, druid, wizard, whatever, then it's going to make it a little bit harder, because my previous idea, and I'm thinking out loud whilst talking here, the idea of half that one subtract from this one would then mean you could learn like -2 wizard spells or something like that, which doesn't really make any sense. So you could have it limited to a minimum amount, something like that, or just set a cap of how many spells you can have known/prepared total per combined caster level, rather than limiting the spell slots that you are able to learn spells for, because it's fucking maddening. Because you have the slots, right? The only reason you can't do it is because it says prepare spells based on based on the levels you have in that class alone. Which would mean you then would not have the spell slots at the higher level, because you wouldn't be that level. But you are that level. And it makes me very frustrated. And the reason this has affected me, because my backup character, absolute unit of a guy, right? I haven't got a name yet, right? But he's an orc. Nah. He doesn't actually speak like that, I don't think. But whatever. He's an orc, and he has the DM has done custom races. They are very similar to the other races, but with a little bit of extra spice and lore. A avowed orc. They are like a druidy orc. They have sworn to do right, and they are fans of nature. They have the power of nature. They have like a limited version of lay on hands, very naturey, but they get the relentless endurance half, being an orc as well. They're a druid, hence why I was using druid in my example. But they're not a wizard. No, they're a cleric. Both are wisdom casters, so I can just prioritize that, reduce the multi-attribute dependency. They're an order cleric, which means they get heavy armor proficiency. Druids don't wear metal armor, but magical dragon bone or celestial creature bone armor sounds not metal to me, and you can have some plate. Beautiful. Anyway, we've got that, and also the whole druids not wearing metal thing is bullshit. Yeah. And the plan was, originally I was just going to do Druid, just Druid, 7 levels, because we're level 7. And I was looking through the Druid subclasses, like, ooh, what would be a cool one to pick? You know, what sounds fun? I looked at Wildfire, I looked at Stars, I looked at Spores. I do love the Circle of Spores. I don't think it's actually that good, but I do love it. Obviously Moon. I think Moon is the one that is broken, where you can transform into a creature that is like quarter your level or half your level or something like that, and then you can turn into elementals and stuff like that. The most broken of the Druid subclasses, in my opinion. Not that I've looked into it too heavily. But I settled on the Shepherd. I always love conjuration. I always love having minions and stuff like that. One of my previous backup characters was a Lich, wizard. But I was looking at the party composition. I was like, I think this would work better for what we've got. It makes great sense within the world, and it'd be fun to roleplay. And the idea was, in terms of combat strategy, because I have previously played a character that was great fun to have as a roleplay character, but they were absolutely fucking useless. And it's a very combat heavy setting, so I want to be able to do both. So the plan was, I will conjure animals and unicorn spirit. Excellent combination in my opinion, because conjure animals you can get 8 creatures with a 3rd level spell slot. They're not very strong, and most of them might die in one hit, but you can get 8, you can get 4, you can get 2, or you can get 1, progressing in strength by the reduction of number. If you heal 1 creature within the unicorn area using a spell slot, you can choose any creatures within that area that you also want to heal an amount equal to your druid level or something like that. That's pretty good. It might be equal to the spell level, don't know. But from what my understanding is, those creatures don't have to be conscious. Woo! Meaning you can get people up from being knocked. Woo! Which is great when you're dealing with giant creatures that can do area of effect damage. Ooh! So, that was a large thing. Also, it's obviously good to keep people topped up, even if they've only taken a small amount of damage. If you get the free ability to heal them a little bit, whilst you're healing someone else a little bit more, go for it, you know? Then there is the spellcasting rule of you can't cast 2 spells in one turn unless XYZ. One of those unlesses, I believe, is if one is a cantrip and one is a spell using spell slots. Healing Word is a healing spell that uses a spell slot. And then I can just be like, Sacred Flame. I think Sacred Flame's a cantrip. Tolzidane! Woo! Whatever. Because we have a very melee-focused party, I'll be summoning an animal, a beast. And now, if I'm going for 1 creature, which is most likely, so that way they don't just instantly all die, against the big enemies anyway, against smaller foes, I might go with like the 4, so they can soak up more enemies, sort of even out the action economy, etc. Because big enemies, I'll summon one thing. It's either going to be a giant constrictor snake or a polar bear or a dinosaur, because it can be CR2. Be good, and I can heal it as my action, as my bonus action with Healing Word. Heal it. If it's in the unicorn area, all of my allies also in the unicorn area, which is a 30-foot radius, 60 foot around. It's a big area. That's going to be most of the party, probably. Very rarely or in battlefields that are larger than that. It does happen, but it's not incredibly frequent. Yeah, just be like, boom, heal them all. Yeah, because it's great plan. However, even better plan. I wanted to not just be druid because I felt like it would be dull. The later features for a shepherd druid, if I ever get to them, I'm not super bothered, you know. The main reason I would stay pure druid would be to hit level 8, our next level, to get that ability score improvement. That's the main thing I'd be wanting to do. And more spell slots, because the more spell slots I get of higher level means that I can then summon more creatures with conjure animals, because if you cast it at 5th level, you can summon double the creatures. So, you know, 16, 8, 4, or 2, respectively. Imagine summoning just 2 fucking polar bears. What the fuck? It'd be great. It is a shame that it's the duration is, I think, an hour concentration, but still pretty cool. Anyway, so I figured, what if I multi-class? And then I remembered I really would like to be a order cleric. I don't want to just go straight into being a cleric, because we just had a cleric. They've just left the party, and you know, I do like druids. They're pretty cool. I like the wild shape ability, even if it is a little bit underpowered if you're not a moon druid. If you're trying to use it for combat, that's okay, I guess. Yeah, we could do that. So I was like, okay, you get cleric subclasses at level 2, so I could be 5 levels of druid. That'll get me 3rd level spell slots for sure. And I get 2 levels of cleric, and I looked into it and I'm like, cool, we get the 3rd level spell slots. Bish, bash, bosh, great. 4th level spell slot, amazing. However, I want a Death Ward as cleric spell. Can't take it as a 2nd level cleric, even if I have the spell slots for it. Just because my other 5 levels are in druid. Meh. I haven't checked whether druid gets Death Ward, but I don't think they do. But if they do, I'll take it. The other thing that I wanted as cleric spell was spiritual weapon, because then my first turn could be polar bear, unicorn, spiritual weapon on the 2nd turn. Follow it. Now that will be my bonus action. So if I need to heal the polar bear, that might be a problem, because 1, that's a spell slot. I can't then do it. But that's okay. You know, whatever. It's fine. Yes. So we have polar bear, unicorn, spiritual weapon, yeet off a sacred flame or whatever it is. Great. That's 2 rounds in. We've got 3 things summoned, kind of. I've not done any healing. If need be, I could have done healing instead of spiritual weapon, and then pop that out at another point in time. However, there's more to be done with us. Warding Bond. Slap that on the polar bear. The polar bear now takes half damage. Everything. I also take the same amount of damage that they take, however. Not ideal, but I can heal us both, as long as we're both inside the unicorn thing, at the same time. Beautiful. Chef kiss. Yeah, that would be the plan. But due to multi-classing rules, you can't fucking do it. Terrible. What I was also thinking was I could potentially, because we're level 7, talk to the DM about potential magic items should I require to play this character, because I wanted my armor to be magical. Ideally, boost to AC, resistance to something, that sort of thing. But the most important part of why I wanted it to be magical was I wanted the armor to enable me to speak in my beast form if I decided to go beast form whilst I was in it. Like if I use wild shape or polymorph. 4th level bird spell. Not that I could get it because the multi-class rules can't get any 4th level spells. Terrible. Yeah. Because you need to give the creature you summon commands. Now, I could give it a command of continue to try and kill that thing until you either succeed or die. And then, I'm an ape. Oh. I could do that. But then if that thing dies, then my polar bear is just going to be there like, I'm a polar bear. Oh, I'm going to try not to get killed. Oh, I'm a polar bear. Which is annoying. And you only get a limited amount of wild shapes, so I can't be back and forth using my action economy up. Yeah. So that's what I wanted. I could ask for the Divine Ring of Nature or something along those lines. Bracer, maybe, who knows. Where it means if you are a druid cleric, multi-class, specifically, it negates the multi-class restriction on spell slots. Because it is a worship of nature which enables you to do both, I guess. That is the way I was going to have the character be anyway. They are an order cleric, there is order in nature, nature requires order to function, blah blah blah. Druid cleric, boom, great, love it. One last thing about my synergy before I go, because my phone is on 16%, and I should really actually do the things that I need to get done this morning. The last synergy moment is, as an order cleric, if you cast a spell slot, if you cast a spell using a spell slot on an ally, you can get them to, as a reaction, make an immediate melee weapon, an immediate attack action, or just a single weapon attack, or something along those lines, as their reaction. Meaning, what we have is polar bear, unicorn. Next round, if I have to heal the polar bear, I can then be like, polar bear, I'm healing you with this spell slot, attack. And the polar bear will immediately use its reaction to attack again, because it's a polar bear. It doesn't have any other reactions. There is no waste to it doing that. Bam. Doubling up on my polar bear attack actions. You know what I'm saying? If it does specify weapon attack, that's bullshit and I hate it. However, I think that natural weapons count as weapons for it, so that's fine. Yay! Similarly, I would rule that unarmed strikes, you could improvise a weapon using your hand. Therefore, it is an improvised weapon. Therefore, a weapon. Therefore, it counts for all of those things that say you need a weapon. Just saying. Anyway, I'm going to go because now my phone is on 15%, so I need to plug it in. Huzzah! Yes. So, today is the day of travel and stuff, and my room's a tip, so I gotta fix it. Do, and I'll catch you cats on the flippy flop. And goodbye.